Frank advice.
Okay.
Yeah.
And is that your background, is it?
Yes, you'll see that we've done, my business partner and myself, we like to think of ourselves as a Te Tiriti Waitangi company. She's Ngāi Tahu and I'm Ngāti Pākehā. And we've done quite a lot of work both for government and for corporates in this area.
And you started that work in late 2016. And when did you...
Well, which 2000? Oh, for this...
For Creswell, New Zealand.
Yes,
And when did you finish that role?
I haven't.
You're still employed as a contractor for Creswell?
Yeah, consultant, okay. Yeah.
I didn't have any other questions.
You don't? And no, I have no further questions either. Thank you very much. It just means that your written submission and your evidence was very clear. Thank you.
Thank you.
The next submitter on my list is Rihi Verko. Good afternoon and welcome.
Tēnā kōrua tahi.
Kia ora kōrua. Rau mō pēnā ko whakawātia sa mai te wahana ki au ki te kōrero tuatahi, kei te paitira.
Kei te paitira.
Kia ora. Taune kia kau ki te tū.
Okay.
Ahoe no kia ora tātou. Hūtia te rito te harakeke, kei hea te kōmako e ko. Ki mai ki au hea te menui o te ao, mākoe ki atu, e tangata. Nō reire e nei kupu whakaaro nui, me mamahara tātou ko te manui katoa, o te tanata. Nō reire huri te whakaaro nui ki tō tātou matua te rane kei hona mono tuatahi. Piono tōna mana ki te ia tātou i nāko mahaka nei, tā mai ki tēnei rā. Kei tau mai no ki te whakaaro nui, te kai arahi nā karake i tēnei ata, nā nei hoki takotoa tūna nā whakamomits, nā inwai tō tātou matua i te rai. O te rai, te whakaaro pai anō hoki, nā riki o koi te motu, ki a riki hoki o tū wharetoa, ai tēnei wā ko tōna i hoki konei, mai iwi kau, te whare ariki o te heuheu, ke tau mai hoki ki a tātumu, ka mihi. Te whare ariki hoki o pōtatau, ke hoki mai hoki ki te ariki mai, ke tū heitja, pōtatau te wherawhero tū awhitu, ke tau te manāke tōra te matua te rani ki nei ai, rire, hau pai māru. Nō reira, e mihana rā ki nā kai pū kōrero ko tua ki mea ia mātou. Ki nā mātā waka kei roto ia tātou tēnei rā, ki nā kārarana hapu. O te rā, ki nā raurana sia e roho nei, i wainui a tātou, a tēnei te mihi. E mihi anō hoki, ki tuku runana hoki o nā tiawa, korono nei rā kōtou, te reo o mātou tiwi, i nā tani, nā inoi, i tā rātou whakahe hoki, ai tēnei tono hoki a tēnei tu. Ono e Māura, mai te tari rā, o kōkoi hinau, te papakāna o kōkoi hinau. Kei te tūmau, e harai te whakahe tō Māua rūnana. Oino i te tāpiri atu o Māua whakaaro, ki tā Māua tautoko ai i tēnei rōpu. Tōku e noa, ko he mana i ruera manuera. E pau whakahareo mo te puni kōkiri, i raro hoki, tō tātou minita hoki, te minita whanake Māori, a nānaia mahuta. E me maho kiau, mai te tohu o ki te Queen o Ninani, a member of the New Zealand Order of Merit, a Justice of the Peace, a marriage celebrant. Ko hau te chamuna tuarua, o te kauhi kaumatra o te runo o Ngāti Awa. Ko hau te chamuna o te komiti o te hapo paipoto, ana wau te chamana. O te tare o kōkohina papakāna, e whakahora nei wā maua tautoko. O te wāhana i āta tūtaki e maua i tēnei rōpū. I runa te inoi mai a te haina mana nei, a chamana song. E hei nei ki te hara mai i te tūtaki i te mana whenua. Ana ka riro mā tō mātou mai, mā tō mātou hapu, e hono a me ki rā e utuatri tana i inoi tana tonu. Ke hara mai te tūtaki i te mana whenua. Nā, ka whakaritia te rā, ka tukuna e mātou te pānui, tuatahi ki te iwi o tūwhare tō, ki kawarau, tuarua ke Ngāti Rani Tihi, tuatoru ke Ngāti Mā Kino, a tuawhā ki te rurana o Ngāti Awa, o tirai tu mātou iwi o Ngāti Awa. Nā kā tū nā hui, e rua nā hui i te wā i konei te haina mana nei, tuatahi i te mraa kōkō hino, tuarua i te mraa o hāhuru i kawara. I reira, ka putakoto mai me ki rā nā mānei o nā rūnana a i pānui te atu nei. I reira e te ho Ngāti Mā Kino, i reira e te ho Ngāti Rani Tihi, i reira e te ho Ngāti o te runa o Ngāti Ao, o tia tūpare tua ki kawara. Nā, i roto te kōrero tana te haina mana nei, tana tūtana i te whakaputaaki wana whakaaro nui mō tōna tūtaki tana i te iwi Māori. Ka putaaki tana kōrero, ko tana hea, ki te haramai, ana, ki te ahuatana hoki ki te o te wai, ki te ahuatana hoki me ki rei te awhina i tēnei me ki rā te re wheketere tū mai nei rā i o takiri. Ko nā kupu i mau i a mātou rā o tō mātou tari te kokoina o papakaina. Tana whakahuatana ka whai mahi te haukaina. I runa ki o tērā, ka whai wāhana mātou te iwi i roto te takiwā, ki te kōrero rā e te whiriwhiri āhuatana, ki te wāhana o nā Pākihi. Nō reira, koe rā nā mei i rataki o mātou tarina. Ko te whai mahi, o tira, ka tohono i nā āhuatana ki nā Pākihi i roto rā i a mātou. I tā mātou whakaaro hoki, koe rā nā whakaaro nui ko tō tātou, o tātou rā o te iwi Māori. Tuatahi, kia whai mahi o tātou tamariki, o tātou mokopuna. O tira, ki hono e tātou, ki nā rōpū, mōhio ki te whakapaka hārera, nā Pākihi i wānui a tātou. Nōre, koe nei rā, te pūtake rā o tā mātou whakatapoto rā i tēnei wā. Oe no, kei roto tuku whāia nei nā kōrero rā, ai tāpari mai rā i wāku kōrero. Nō rere hoki tuna tura ki tērā tauki, ko te mea nui, e tanata. I runa tērā whakaaro hoki, anei pēr te wahana, ke hono tātou, te iwi Māori, te iwi taketake, ki reira rā, ke noho tahi, ke mahi tai, whakautahi a tātou rā, nā iwi taketakea, ki te whakapakaria ki a tātou, i runa rā, nā moemoea o tātou tīpuna, kia whai mahi. I runa hoki tērā kōrero, he tanata, ka ranatira, pēnei whai mahi ana, ka puta te hua ki tōna whānau, ki tōna hapu, ki tōna iwi. Nō reira, koe reira, i tēnei wā, kia kōrua te tēpū komihana, wā aku kōrero rā kia kōrua. Nei rā tōku whāia, e whakamutas nei mā mātou kōrero. Tā reira tēnei wā, e mehena kia kōrua, mehana ko pēra kia tātou rā, ki nā pū kōrero ko tū mai ake, mai te kuruna o nā tiawa, mai tū wharetoa, mai nā kārana hapū, una rā i tēnei tono, o whakatakotoria i tēnei rā, tēnā kōrua, tēnā kōtū, tēnā kōtū, kia ora tātou katoa.
Kia ora hui mai anō tātou ka tai a tinana mai i tēnei rā. Ki te tuku kōrero, e wā tātou whakaro, i runga i tēnei kaupapa whakahirahira, te ata whai, te tiaki hoki i te mauri o te wai. Kia kore ai e tōrua tianga kōrero, ka huri au i nānei ki te reo o tauiwi, ki te whakamara mātu i wā mātou. I nā kōrero i tuku nei i roto i wā mātou hui, te tari Kokohino Papakainga Trust. So without further delay, I extend my warmest greetings to all gathered here today to share views pertaining to the care of life-giving quality of water, in particular its social and environmental sustainability. In support of the application, my strongest focus is on social sustainability. I'm mindful that my local iwi do not support the application. However, I am confident that we will all agree to disagree concerning the application and mutually agree to upholding due respect for each other within our tangata whenua cultural circles. I am not here to make enemies with anyone, least of all with my own people. I like to think that our differing perspectives will provide opportunity to place a higher value on social sustainability, which I personally believe requires a serious uplifting. I speak to two submissions, one as trustee of Kokohino Papakainga Trust, the trust, of which I have been secretary for 37 years, since 1981, and a second submission filed in a personal capacity. The trust currently represents 1,682 owners of a freehold Māori land title, most of whom do not reside locally. Our constituents mostly live globally. The trustees, as named in our trust's submission, conducted satisfactory due process and due diligence at legal compliant meetings in arriving at our decision to support the application. It included kanohi ki te kanohi, face-to-face consultation with China-based Nong Fu chairperson and his entourage, which provided quality visual cue questions and answers for him to allay concerns and to build culturally appropriate relationships. Of utmost importance to our trust and to me personally is employment opportunities for our younger generations. Hence our focus on social sustainability. The Māori people of Aotearoa are world renowned for their conservationist cultural beliefs. Unfortunately, those values have severely suffered the impact of successive oppressive mistreatment by colonisation and westernisation, which paid little, if any, attention to sustainable management of natural resources and the natural environment. I grew up in a time when Māori concerns of unsustainable depletion and or ruthless desecration of natural environment resources were largely ignored. Those concerns were suppressed in the name of greed-driven economic gain when the mighty dollar ruled without due consideration of its severe impact on the health of the natural environment. Due to the limited time to speak to my submission, and as an information sharing time saver, I took the liberty to issue an article titled "Show Us the Green." It is an excerpt of the New Zealand-China Trade Association weekly newsletter, to which I subscribe online. It adequately reflects my values of striking a balance between environmental and social responsibilities in caring for our natural resources. I consulted Wikipedia in search of definitions that best describe our decision for supporting the application as follows. Sustainable development is the organising principle for meeting human development goals, while at the same time sustaining the ability of natural systems to provide the natural resources and ecosystem services upon which the economy and society depend. The desired result is a state of society where living conditions and resource use continue to meet human needs without undermining the integrity and stability of the natural system. Sustainable development can be classified as development that meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations. With these two literary resources, this definition and the Show Us the Green write-up, we summarise our support of the application as follows. The Kanohi ki te Kanohi consultation process was Māori-friendly and culturally appropriate. Prospects of future expansion will create employment opportunities while caring for te Māori o te wai. The current workforce is predominantly Māori who value their current employment positions and look forward to training and upskilling opportunities that expansion of the water plant will bring. We have common whakapapa, genealogical links with the current employees. There is no reliable evidence that the aquifer is adversely affected by industrial pollution of the nearby Tarawera River. The aquifer water quality, te Māori o te wai, is premium grade and has been since inception of commercial water bottling. I am personally familiar with Māori values of sustainable management of te Māori o te wai, having been brought up in a total te reo Māori home environment which relied on a domestic bore for our household water supply. I was taught how to prime a water pump and to resolve airlock issues from age 10 years. There are very interesting parallels between Māori and Chinese cultural values. Those commonalities are stepping stones to meaningful relationship building that ensures a mutually acceptable common bond for a brighter future. We are satisfied that Chinese management of risk to sustainability is world-class, as confirmed by China's undeniable technological and economic advancement. And finally, we support granting of this application for resources consents. In conclusion, it is very important that I categorically state that the Trust has never received payment from Creswell to support this application for resources consents. We need to make that very clear after strong inferences in the Friday, 20th April 2018 Whakatane Beacon, that I, in the capacity of Trust Secretary, denies that the Trust received payment to support this application. I personally found that implication that our Trust was bribed to support this application very insulting and a slur on my Trust Secretary integrity. Thank you very much. That ends my presentation.
No, thank you. Shall we see if we have any questions now?
If like, you can have a copy of Show Us the Green. Its full title is actually Show Us the Green Says Investors.
Yeah.
He pātai tuatahi. He aha ta mahi o te kōkō hino papakainga trust.
He aahua turi nei waku taringa.
O te kaupapa o te tari o kōkō hino, o te mana ki te whenua o te marae. Ko mātou nā kai tiaki, i te tekau taimano iwa rau, una kou mā iwa, ka hana tia e te kōchi. I whakakotahi tia nā taitera. E whā, ke noho i te taitara kotahi, ke riro mana kai tiaki, e mana ki te whenua, o te papakaina o kōkuina. Tēnei wā, ko mātou nā toina o nā me ki nā kai tiaki tuatahi, e toru mātou i tēnei wā, i te arahi tērā tari o tātou.
Ngā mahi ki te tautoko ngā whānau ki te whakatū ngā whare, pēr?
O ko te whakaaro o mātou pēnā he hua kei roto ki nā pāki he kōrero tia nei te haimana. Ki eira pēr mātou, o te mea hauki pēnā ki te kōrero koe mōhio, i whakawhitua whiratia e rima nā whare, e tūana ki te mara i tēnei wā, e te mine te whana ki tāna Māori, e nā nāia, e tērā wiki. E muri o tērā, ko te tiro e nāna, ko te mea hauki, o homai te wahana i te kāwana, ke te kaumā iwa anō he whare whakatūtū. Nā kei reira pē te whakaaro, pē o te huarahi pē, ki te hono kia waiaki. Pēnā he ki te hono mai, te mahi pākihi, o te hua o te oranara, o te tanata, o te whānau, o te hapu, o te iwi.
E noho ana koe i te tapapakainga i runga te whenua? E noho ana koe i te whenua o koko hinau papakainga?
Kei tua te au, kei roto te papakainga o tō mātou tīpuna o tō mātou matua. Ka rano e tapitana e te mara. Engari, pēnara ka whai whare, ka homa te whare te tari ki au, ko noho au te mai.
Kia ora.
Koe noho me kore kei pē, he mahi rarua te tānata ka taika au. Kia ora.
E rongo atu au ki tō kōrero i mueta te mātou wahanga e whakamarama i a māua i runga ngā pōtai o tēnā o ngā tari. Ko te pātai ki a koe, just explaining to others, he mana wears very many hats. And what I'm meaning by that is that he is a leader in a number of different forms. And my question is, he ata whakaaro o ngā tangata i runga ngā puare mo tēnei tono? What's the feeling of those, what's the thoughts of those for which you mentioned you're a member of a number of trusts and marae and things? What's their feelings?
Ka arere kia ke tō mātou hapu, me ka hapu a kiama. Ētahi e tautokona, ētahi e whakahea. O te ētahi anō ki, kei runga te taia pai noho ana. A hoi na pata paituru mātou te whakaaro. Pēnei hua kei roto i tēnei mahi a te whakaaro o te hainamana, o Homaitia, he mahi mo te haukaina. A koe rā tā mātou whakaaro nui katoa. Ke tae ke mātou te hoki atiki o mātou tō mātou hapu, a kōrerotu, e mokopuna mā, o whai mahi o kōtou pakeke. Ka kore oki, o hoki atu mātou, aroha mai, o kore whai mahi o kōtou pakeke, o noho pōhara tūnu kōtou. Kei reira te whakaaro.
Nā, i te tainga mai o te, hemana o non-fu, ki te kōrero kia mātou, kare anō nei kia pā mai te waipuke o Pātu Tātahi. No mua no atu tēnei hui ki te taha o te hemana o non-fu. Engari nā te pātanga mai o te waipuke i Pātu Tātahi, nā ka huri wa mātou whakaaro o te tari whenua, ki te hanga i ngā whare e hiehia tia nei i ngā whānau, i raru nei i te waipuke nui. Engari, e te kāna kia whakamārama tia tērā, te hui ki te taha o te heamana, i whakahaere tia i mua no atu o nā waipuketanga o Pātu Tātahi.
Rihi, i roto tō pare, in your submission, it has, Otakiri Springs plant expansion will provide safe full-time local jobs for local whānau, the mōhio māua, ki te rā kōrero. Creswell New Zealand is committed to working with mana whenua hapu, ke te rongo atu ki the applicant, i tēnei ata. Amuri tērā, ngā tangata whenua and iwi in a kaitiaki role to protect the mauri of the natural water resource. Ko taku nei pātai, ki a koe, what do you see as the protection of the mauri of the natural resource? What do you see that as?
Te mauri o te wai.
Ai.
Kua roa ke au e whai mōhio tanga ana ki tēnā, ki te mauri o te wai. Kua ki te au i wetahi e tūkino ana i te mauri o te wai. Engari, ko tērā kamupene a tāhi mana i tūkino i te mauri o te wai. He rahi tonu mātou i haere ki te mahi ki reira. Ahakoa e mahi ana wera mahi tūkino i te Aotearoa. I tāia te pēha, koina te āhuatanga o te ao nei. Pina kāre koe haere ki te mahi, anā kua kore koe whiwhitea. Koenei tātou o mātou, e tautoko nei i tēnei tono, anā te mea, he huarahi tērā mō te hunga e whai mahi ana mō rātou. Ai. Koenei ki te mea nui kia mātou. I te mea hoki, tēnei kamupene otkeri, kua riro ke atu te mana o tērā wai ki te Pākehā. Anei nāia nei, ke te kumai te hainamana ki te whakarahi ake. Anei mātou e tautoko nei mā te mahi whakawhanau ngātu ki ngā hainamana. E ki ana hoki wetahi o ngā tohinga o te puitai ao. I tākea mai ngā Māori i Taiwan. Nā DNAs i whakamana i tērā mōhiotanga.
Ko te whakaaro rā te tari mo te Māori. Ai te mohoki tātou e Māori, mo tātou reo te tiwi Māori, o nā mea katoa. E Māori to te whenua, e Māori te te rākau, nā kararehe, nā ika. Tēnei wā ko te Māori o te wai. O te mea ke e maumahara ke tātou, o tātou nā kaitiaki o tēnei Māori. Nā, E wahana mo tātou tuwi Māori ki te, me kērā ki te hono, ki nā mea kuare, e kore ana mo iho ki te ata pūtake o te Māori, e mahi mā tātou. Ki te poi, ke moha e rātou, ke mau o te mana o te Māori tunu, te mea nui katoa, ki a tātou, he ku tū kai chaki ana i runa tēnei te whenua tō tātou atua.
Mā tātou katoa e atu whai te mauri o te wai.
Ka pai. Tēnā kukua. Komotu nā pātua. Yeah, I don't have any more questions.
Yeah, and
No,
I
we
have
all
no
have
further
us.
questions either, thank you.
E mihi kawana kia korua tahi, ko tai mai nei ki te whakawhiriwhiringa korua, o tira ki te whakamārama i a māua i runga te tono i mui a tātou, no reira tēnā korua, tēnā koutou. Kia ora, thank you.
And as a last word, if you live in the Whakatane District Council boundaries, please vote for the Māori wards.
Kia ora.
No mai o te honore, kia ora kore.
There's no need to minute that, but everyone heard it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
The next submitter on my list is Maureen Fraser.
Can I first of all just say thank you for giving us the opportunity to speak to our submissions that we put through. My name is Maureen Fraser and I represent not only myself but my husband Glenn Fraser and my son Seth Fraser, who's 10. I'd like to start to speak to my submission on a more personal note. It may be unorthodox, but quite frankly, I have 15 minutes to be able to tell you the impact that this development might have on my family if you decide that it should go ahead. We flank the left-hand side of the potential development. We purchased here a few years ago with the thought that we were moving into a comfortable rural area. We're rural people. But we had moved from Papamoa in seek of a life that more fitted who we were. And although this potential development has described themselves as fitting within noise controls and fitting within all of the regulations that they believe that they need to meet, it is not the community that I moved into. It's not the community that this council created by allowing those larger farms so many years ago when the original Otakiri Springs was allowed to be a minor activity on that property. There were 4 families and now there are so many within that community. We have moved there because that's the lifestyle that we want, and we agree that the council is allowed to say that they want industrial development or more development to move into the area, but what we are asking you to do is to put better parameters around where you place it. If you're going to place it on the main roads. Don't impact so many families on our back streets because you want these jobs. If these companies want to be here, then those jobs won't change because they're in a better location. They won't change because you ask them to change where they're going to be. So, if you decide to let this go ahead, we do ask that you think better about where you allow such large industrial environments to grow. Otherwise, you're setting a really dangerous precedent for the entire Rangatahi Plains. You're saying that every single one of us there could be subject to such a large development in our backyards. If you're going to allow it to be somewhere, then those main arterial routes like the other water bottling plant or Avita like Fonterra and Edgecombe on main arterial routes, they are far better locations. And don't get me wrong, I don't agree in any way, shape or form with the sheer quantity of the water that they're taking. By my calculations, they're going to be taking over 1/5 of the entire available water allocation from their aquifer. And we need to learn from our mistakes. If you look around the country, the way in which we apply the water allocations has failed so many times. Just like this jacket I wear, if anyone else in this room put this on, some it will fit and some it will not. And so is the same way in which we are applying the science that goes into our aquifers. We say one size fits all, and yet Canterbury is failing, Gisborne is failing, and so many others, and yet we still continue to say we know best. I don't agree in any way, shape or form with this development, but if you have to do it, please take your time, think about how you apply this. I thought over so many months, how would I approach this? How would I discuss with you the fears that I have? That not only are we giving away a resource for free, I know that's not our problem here in this room today. You can't decide on that. But what you can decide on is how you let them administer their business. Don't let them put their clean and process chemicals in any way, shape or form into our waterways. It's just not acceptable that we give away a resource for free and we allow them to put those chemicals into our waterways as a benefit of their business. They should be made to take it away. That is just a non-negotiable. Take it away, clean it properly, like the chemicals that have to be cleaned properly, just take the lot. Only rainwater should go into those rivers. And in those instances, it should not go into the drain that flanks the front side of their property. It should go directly into the river because it should be clean, rainwater only. And that river is far better equipped for our community to take that water away if you decide that this should go ahead than that tiny little stream with its own ecosystem that is depending on you to make sure that those chemicals don't destroy where they live. I have found throughout this process that everything is against the everyday person. And I know that that is not an intention of this room, but if we look to the left and we look at the files and the sheer quantity of information that this company can afford to put forward, their pseudoscience paid for is no match against the everyday person that just says that yes, if you agree that there is enough water in that aquifer for them to take, don't poison the streams on the ground. Don't allow them to change our communities for the worse because they say it's all about the jobs, but those jobs shouldn't change if they have to be in a better location. Those jobs shouldn't change if we ask them to not have a sewage system that leaks into the river. Have a sewage system that is fully contained and is emptied when it's full and taken to an appropriate site to be cleaned. We shouldn't be penalised for saying what we want them to do to keep our environment clean if they want to be a part of our community. That is just not how this should go. But I don't have the money that they have to have files like that. All I have is a passion for the fact that I moved to a community that I love. that I adore. This is where I want to be. This is where I moved my business. This is where my husband moved his business. This is where we hope our son will grow his children, where our neighbours thrive, where we walk down our streets and we love it. All of that will change if this goes ahead. And we don't want it anywhere, but if it's got to be somewhere, then it needs to be a location that is better for our environment. And at the moment, all we're finding is that the pseudoscience that they've paid for attempts to mitigate the damage that they will do. And if we can learn anything from the past, if we can learn anything from the mills that we allowed to sprout up around our community and poison our rivers in exchange for jobs, and those jobs are no longer there or in very short supply because of being fully automated, we're sitting here today because of an industry who is absolutely prone to automation. These jobs, as much as they say, are not guaranteed. There is no way that they can say that they will not fully automate or that they will not move from trucks to train and that those jobs will not be there. They can't say that because every industry is about money. It's not about people. And we need to remember that when we think about the allowances that we make for these industries for our environment. So, the last thing I would like to say is that although I 100% agree that we need jobs in our community, that this is not the only way that we can grow jobs. And in fact, it shouldn't be a reliance on one company for these jobs because of their ability to automate. And also, how did they get around New Zealand employment law stating that they will employ local iwi? Because quite frankly, that flies in the face of our employment laws, which says equal opportunity for everybody. And I'd like to leave you with that, because pseudoscience is easy to pay for, but reality is something that we need to face. And reading their submissions, the way in which they portray their point of view is quite obviously a skewed opinion. Thank you.
Yes, thank you for that. See if we have any questions.
I do. You're at, I think it's 408.
Yep.
Hello Road. Whereabouts is that? You said the left-hand side, but we went for a site visit yesterday afternoon. Where exactly is that?
Oh, in the BMW?
Yes, it was. We saw a few people watching us. It's not my car, it's the chairperson's car.
Nice.
Yeah, you wouldn't
so
remember
down the
my
dirt
car.
road.
Yes.
So the dirt road of Hallett Road,
Okay.
with the tail end.
Oh, down the end, and so there's
Big
house
fence.
right. There was one at the end, just further up on the left. That's yours there.
Yeah.
Okay.
We were the ones that were left off some of their documents because they didn't believe that the houses could be in such close proximity.
Okay. Excellent. Now, I wasn't sure exactly where you live, but now what you said, I had some questions, but they were related if you were on the other left-hand side. That's okay.
No. Left facing Johnson.
Yeah, First Major
Yeah.
Johnson, that's okay. When you were talking about the chemicals, you were talking about the chemicals that would be used for the cleaning of the, as you understand.
The clean in place process.
Those ones that you're
Yeah,
talking about.
CIP.
Okay, thank you.
At the moment, that drain is declared unmonitored.
Sorry. Sorry, what was that?
At the moment, the drain is declared unmonitored by the council. So the council has no records of how clean it is, and they would continue to have no records of the applicant's dumping of chemicals. But the applicant has very kindly offered to test it for themselves.
Yep. I didn't have other questions. I didn't have any other questions. You've actually provided quite a detailed submission, so much of the questions I would have had have already been answered in there. Thank you.
Yeah.
So just two things, I didn't write down, how long have you lived where you live now? I didn't
A
catch
few years.
A few years?
Yeah.
Is that 2, 3,
2.
5?
Yeah.
And was that an existing house or did you build it? Or?
Existing.
Okay. And no further questions, but that just means the points that you've made have been made very clearly. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, the next submitter on my list, and I'm going to pronounce the name wrong, I can tell, Leslie McCowan. Sorry about that. Number 10.
Thanks very much for the opportunity to talk to you today. My name is Leslie McKeown. I live at 58 Johnson Road, which is immediately opposite Otakiri Springs. Lived there for 25 years. Built a house there some years ago, as I've stated in my submission, so I won't go over that.
Yep.
Lived in the area for some 52 years, and I was raised in Kawerau. And also with my husband, raised 3 children, and we have 4 grandchildren. My daughter and son-in-law and 2 of the grandchildren live next door to me on a piece of land that we subdivided and put a house on so they could be close, because my husband passed away 18 months ago, so it's very comforting to have my children next to me. I've travelled overseas extensively, and just within the past month spent 2 weeks in China. And every time I come back to New Zealand, I'm so grateful for my parents' decision to uproot our family and move from the UK, from the other side of the world, and come to live in New Zealand. I'm a naturalised New Zealander. I've relinquished my English passport. I'm a Kiwi. I love this country. I love the area I live in. So I'm very passionate about this whole process. With regard to the process leading up to this hearing, I'd like it noted that the affected parties were given very little time to review and analyse the documentation provided by the applicant. The bulk of the documentation was provided less than 3 weeks in advance, which is insufficient time to secure any expert advice. Some information was supplied as late as Friday, April 27. Given the time and vast resources available to the applicant, this places affected parties at a distinct disadvantage. I'm going to go through the items in our submission and just either summarise or elaborate on some of the points based on the information that I listened to yesterday.
Yep.
So with regard to noise generating activities, the noise of the running of the plant may well be within allowable limits, but it's the scale of change from no noise at night that is the basis of my objection. As stated in my submission, other sources of noise such as the boiler blowdown and workshop were not addressed in the original application, and I've not seen or heard any consideration since. These sources of noise are not to be dismissed. With regard to lighting, to compare intermittent seasonal light levels associated with rural activities, such as for harvesting and post-harvest activities undertaken at night, which is in Table 3 of the original submission summary of comparison of effects, with the continuous nighttime lighting is spurious. Harvest vehicle lighting can in no way be compared with the large-scale industrial lighting associated with the proposed plant. With regard to the membrane reject stream, I contest the premise that the reject stream is clean, unadulterated, and does not contain any contaminants. Water is passed through the membranes for the express purpose of purifying it by removing contaminants. This means that the permeate contains the removed ions, salts and particulate matter in concentration. I think it's worth noting in response to Ms Mallory's comment yesterday, turbidity measurement is relevant and is frequently used as an indicator of contamination by total dissolved solids and particulate matter. In fact, it is the trigger for the automatic blowdown of boilers to purge dissolved solids that accumulate from feed water treatment chemicals. So it has a wide range industrial application in a number of situations. The traffic effects. Now, this is my main objection. With regard to traffic, it's the number of trucks and the associated impact on the inherent character of the neighbourhood. In the opening legal submissions document, paragraph 12D states that while people living near the site will experience some effects of the project, the amenity values of the area will be maintained to an appropriate level in line with WDP and road noise standards, and neighbours will continue to enjoy their rural lifestyle. This stance is disingenuous and conflicts with the opening statements regarding Creswell Nongfu's values and aspirations. I also refer to the opening legal submissions document, paragraph 29. We chose to live on a quiet, no-exit road away from the main road for these inherent characteristics. Whilst the numbers and noise fall under the acceptable limits, again it is the scale of change from virtually no noise to frequent noise 10 hours a day, 6 days a week, and that the impact of that change has been understated. I find this unacceptable. The examples and traffic figures presented by the applicant's consultants are misleading and inaccurate. The response to the panel's question was an estimate by Mr Richards of 100 vehicle movements comprising 4 movements per property. If the numbers are based on movements measured at the end of Hallett Road at the intersection with Military Road, then this may be credible. But from my own observations from my home-based office, which looks out onto the road, I can confidently refute these figures. Traffic movements are so infrequent that any vehicle travelling along Johnson Road from number 46 upwards immediately gains my attention. Personally, I remain on my property for many days on end, and that is quite frequent. My immediate neighbour seldom uses his vehicle, and neighbours further along also travel infrequently. This places considerable doubt on Mr Richards' estimates, which I note were presented as being based on actual counts and therefore can only assume are extrapolated figures. In addition, the figures relating to traffic movements are limited to trucks and do not include employee, contractor or service vehicles. Now that the projected number of jobs is significantly increased from 50, the additional vehicle movements cannot be dismissed. The examples given by Mr Frentz as credible comparisons to the Johnson Road scenario, and in particular the Poplar Lane example, are at best misleading. There are no residential properties on Poplar Lane and the stretch of Old Coach Road leading up to the Otamarako Quarry. Wharawhara and Kaitamako roads are significant roads servicing large numbers of properties and enterprises and can in no way be compared to Johnson Road in terms of rural character. On that point, I think it's important to make the distinction between rural zoning and rural character. Landscape and visual effects. The proposed planting will take many years to mature and realise the intended mitigative effects. No alternatives have been offered in the meantime. Ms Manamai's contention that lifestyle blocks in the area are not productive is also inaccurate. A significant area of the land opposite the water plant is leased by a local dairy farmer for grazing and winter feed production and is therefore very productive. With regard to the change of consent conditions and land use consent, the scale of operation proposed is a radical change from the existing operation, and it's a long stretch of the imagination to consider that it is merely an expansion of an existing activity. The original consent, including provision for expansion, was based on consultation with the very small number of land users in the vicinity of the property at the time, and upon whom the effects of the very small-scale operation were truly minimal. In fact, we took the operation into consideration when building our home and concluded that the impacts at the time were minimal. At the time the existing consent was granted, water bottling was a fledgling, innovative industry, and I contend that the concept of expansion in the context of the consent to the scale now proposed would not have been considered by those granting the consent nor the current operators. Now, please do not misconstrue my next statement as dismissive or disrespectful. My late husband, children, grandchildren have ties to the local iwi, and in fact my husband is Rihi Furko's cousin. There's an overwhelming focus on the consideration of the effects on tangata whenua, almost to the exclusion of the wider population, and the considerable benefits that the project will bring to the district. However, terms such as likely and potential have been used to describe these benefits. A large number of jobs and training opportunities have been touted as very significant reasons for granting the consent, and I don't dispute the potential benefits. But I note that the initial figure of 50 jobs has now grown almost fourfold, and it was stated yesterday that tangata whenua would be offered jobs first, that is, given preference. And I note in Maureen's submission that it has not been a lost point that to appoint a person based on race is not allowed under New Zealand employment law. In conclusion, I wish it to be noted that I strongly dispute the contention that the effects of the proposed large-scale operation on the rural and amenity characteristics of the neighbourhood are minimal. I feel that the effects of the project, particularly those associated with noise and traffic movements, have been deliberately underplayed, often described as less than minor. Furthermore, I believe that the so-called mitigation measures will fall short of rendering the actual effects at all palatable. I've heard terms such as perceived effects, that residents' views are subjective, but that experts' evidence is objective. Amenity values are, by definition, subjective, as stated by the applicant, as those qualities and characteristics of an area that contribute to the people's appreciation of its pleasantness, but they seek to devalue our appreciation of the pleasantness of our environments with so-called expert objective arguments. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. I see you were reading from a written statement which you've obviously taken a lot of time and care to put together. Can we have copies of that?
Of my
Thing you just read out.
Oh, this is in the document that was given to us yesterday.
No, your submission to us today, you were reading from something? Your own notes?
My own notes, yes,
Yes,
that I prepared.
Yes, can we get a
Oh,
copy of
yes,
that?
I'm sorry, yes,
Yeah.
absolutely, yes.
Yeah, thank you.
That was going to be my first question. That would be really helpful. You mentioned rural lifestyle being different to rural zone, the difference. Are you able to give your perspective of what you see as the rural lifestyle of that particular area? You mentioned a couple of things, quiet and no exit road, but were there other things that you particularly think are elements of the rural lifestyle?
I think the peace and quiet, the tranquility, those inherent characteristics were the ones that we chose to build our home in, to raise our children in. It was close to a very good rural school. It's a safe road for our kids to walk down. In fact, you could have a picnic in the middle of the road some days and not have any fear of being run over. It is that quiet. The road, when we moved there, was dirt, as is Hallett Road, and after quite a long battle, it became tar sealed. And I would contend that the quality of the road, although we're grateful for having it tar sealed, isn't great. When you drive along there, it's full of holes and bumps and dips where the water main has broken so many times over the past 25 years.
Perhaps I didn't feel with the excellent suspension we had in the BMW. Perhaps, yeah. My car might have been a better car for a site visit, perhaps. Yeah.
And, you know, it's just, it doesn't even qualify for a white line down the sides or cat's eyes in the middle. And if you consider that rural roads are anything between residential areas, for instance, those roads are highly engineered. They are designed to take thoroughfare traffic. And so you know, the lack of traffic down there is one of the main considerations, but also it's open, but it's a community. I know that my neighbours are not particularly close, but I know that on a quiet night when the air is still in sound travels, I can literally call to someone next door. It is a fairly tight-knit community. We don't live in each other's pockets, but we know each other. When vehicles travel down that road, you look because those people are, probably residents, and if they're not, well, you question what their business is down a dead-end road like that. It's very pleasant in terms of if you want to go walking with your children, your dog, your horses, you can do that with safety and with confidence. And it's just a really, really pleasant area to live. In the evenings, we very often sit outside and all you hear is the running of the river and the moorporks at night and, dare I say it, the awful plovers, they never sleep. But, that is the characteristic of the environment that we live in.
And you said you had grandchildren with you
Yes,
now.
I do.
Do you often go on walks down the road?
Oh,
So
yes,
just
they've
down the
got
property?
scooters and bikes and the dog and that sort of thing. And it's quite safe for the kids to walk home from the bus stop at the end of the road. So all of those things add to the quality of family life in that area.
Thank you. I didn't have any other questions, but just want to acknowledge, please accept my condolences for the passing of your husband.
Thank you very much.
You mentioned you work from home. What sort of work do you do out of interest?
I'm the technical officer for a certification body specialising in food safety and quality management systems. One of my specialties is the auditing and certification of boiler management systems, so I speak about the boilers and the turbidity testing with some authority. But I have the flexibility to work at home, and that's a fantastic position to be in. I have an office in Mount Maunganui, but I don't have to go there, so yeah, I work from home and it's absolutely fantastic. And of course, it's a really quiet environment to work in, which I really treasure.
All right. Thank you very much for putting in your submission, and also we look forward to getting a copy of the notes that you were reading from
Sure.
today.
I
But
can do
no
that.
further questions from me. Thank you. Now, the next submitter that I have on the list, Vanessa Scott and Ellie White.
This is my family, Scott White, my wife Vanessa, and my one-year-old son Eli. We live on the southern boundary of Otakiri Springs, down Hallett Road, on the gravel section.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
So we're a direct neighbour on their boundary. We've lived there for 6 years. Was the first home we built. So we bought it for the quiet location, nice rural setting, and somewhere we can bring up kids safely. So our biggest concern with the expansion is probably just the size of it. Having a huge industrial site right at our doorstep with the issues of noise, lighting, traffic, the list goes on. Probably highest on our priority list would be the lighting at night. We haven't had a lighting assessment done from our property, which we feel we should do, so we're going to have to live next door to it. I work on an industrial site, so industrial lighting at night, I don't know what the effects are. You can say you're going to turn lights towards the ground or turn lights away from people's property, but it's fog lighting. You can read a book across the street in the middle of the night, so yeah, it needs to be looked at closely. And the noise, it's proposed that there's going to be 18 roller doors facing our property, which will be open 12 hours a day. So we're concerned with the hours as well of the operation.
I am a teacher, and my husband Scott works for an engineering company in Kawerau, and to be quite honest, being part of this community, we grew up here, we're from here. My dad had a beef farm, Scott's parents had a deer farm, and then did kiwi fruit. We've lived around here, we wanted to bring our family up here. We got the property thinking it's amazing, it's quiet, it's down a gravel road. Yes, there is a kiwi fruit orchard on the back, we knew that. And we know that maybe once a month he might be spraying, or Scott knows what he does, but I don't really have any idea about the kiwi fruit orchard too much. And we knew that that wouldn't be a bother because, you know, that's what we signed up for. We didn't sign up for something which would be the size of, let's say, Fonterra. We didn't sign up for our son not to be safe to go down to the stream, which directly is on the edge of our property, which I've spent the last 2 years planting out with natives to protect the waterway because there's eels and there's pukekos and there's all these other beautiful birds and all that kind of thing that you want. Like, that's what we bought the property for. The fact that we weren't even in the landscape assessment, we're not even on it, freaks me out, because how can we really make a judgment call if there hasn't been any assessment taken of our property? The fact that the lighting, you know, it's all going to be along that boundary. We will be directly, our entertaining area, facing the car park, supposedly, from what I can tell. But there wasn't a clear lighting plan to see that, hey, that's actually not going to affect us. I can see people working in the orchard. Hey, I can hear them having a conversation on their phone or talking to someone else. But that's not a bother because, you know, it's only once or every so often I hear it. It's not like continual sound. The fact that they are saying till 10 o'clock at night, which is, let's be honest, we've got a baby, we're in bed by 8:30, they're going to be working. Like, I heard them drilling all night when I was up with my little boy. And there was no care to say that, you know, oh no, it's going to be all night. It's just, it's over the top. From what I could tell of their submission, it wasn't clear. It hadn't been thought through. It hadn't been, for example, they put themselves in our position and thought, if I was living there, what would I expect? What would I want from, you know, that lifestyle? I don't know if there's been any lighting assessment done at night.
It doesn't fit into the rural lifestyle that we thought we'd bought into.
Yeah. And we're really concerned that who's going to monitor all this and make sure that all these things they say they're going to do will be done? Is it going to be us calling and saying, well, actually, this has happened? The fact that they're going to monitor that stream is a bit, how well are they going to do it? Are they going to do it so that all those beautiful plants and all those pukekos and all those eels and all those lovely things that we are cherishing, which is right next to our property, is going to be looked after? Really, what we want is, if this does go through, for them to come to the party, put realistic measures on the lighting, the noise, so nothing later than 6 o'clock at night, and the volume of traffic. You know, when he goes to school, he's not going to be safe to walk down that road. I had thoughts in my head that he would bike on his little bike, you know, as I did as a child, to the end of the road, jump on the bus and off he went. But that's definitely not going to be happening, like, if that kind of traffic's happening. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, questions?
I didn't have any questions. It was a very thorough submission that we received from you. Thank you very much.
In terms of pedestrian safety and cycling safety, I understand the applicants agreed to put in a shared pedestrian cycleway on the left-hand side of the road now as you head from the state highway to the factory.
Yeah.
Does that meet your concern about that?
Not really, because I haven't seen a really detailed, clear, perfected, because we did have meetings with them, and we did do back and forth, and it wasn't given a final document of exactly what it would look like so the children could get to the bus safely, where the bus stop would be, all those kind of things. It wasn't. So I'm just kind of guessing that's maybe not happening.
And is it adequate to put a footpath down a road that's going to have a truck rolling down every 3 minutes? Having kids walk down a footpath
He'd
next to
climb
that?
through it. He'd go across it. You know, like, it's just,
No further questions, and I'm not sure if how long you've been here. That just means that the points you've made have been made clearly, so don't take the lack of questions as a sign that we don't take your issues seriously.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So thank you very much. So that's the end of submitters for today. Officers, anything you want to bring to our attention now? Applicant, anything you wish to bring to our attention now before we reconvene in the morning?
And some further work is being done that we hope to update you on in due course.
Mhm.
We've got a squatter and will involve an extension to that noise fence up the eastern boundary of the site, which will, thank you. Sorry. And perhaps I shouldn't ruin the surprise too much, but it's, the idea is to create some additional noise mitigation for properties such as Ms McEwen's on the eastern side of Johnson Road there, near the entrance to the site, and other properties around there. And coming back the other way, I suppose, an additional barrier for road noise experienced by the people residing along Hallett Road there, so such as the Whites. And Ms Fraser, yeah.
All right.
So sorry, just a plan. I'm not sure if a plan has been shown to Ms Nicholas yet, but there's a plan. Mr Higley's running some numbers,
Right.
and we hope to update the panel. I'm conscious that we could have told you about this in reply, but wanted to get the information to Ms Nicholas as soon as possible, and just let you know about that as well. So,
No, that's fine. And if you are proposing additional mitigation, which, as you've just mentioned, you'll no doubt specify in the reply, if you wish to attach some supplementary technical evidence in support of that, then we'll take that and read it. And if we have questions, we'll put them back in writing to you.
thank you, sir.
Yep. And all of that information will be available to the submitters as well. All right, thank you very much. We now adjourn until 9 o'clock in the morning.